And the winner of this year's Silicon Valley Student Innovation Challenge is. The auditorium fell silent as the chief judge, a legendary venture capitalist with salt and pepper hair and designer glasses, paused dramatically. Nate felt Jamie's hand tighten around his, while Noah practically vibrated with nervous energy beside a stoically rigid Devin. Nexus from Stanford University. The eruption of applause felt distant as the four friends exchanged stunned glances before being ushered toward the stage. Kyle's team sat frozen in disbelief several rows ahead, their sleek corporate presentation having failed to outshine Nexus's innovative demonstration of adaptive connectivity. "We did it," Jamie whispered, gripping Nate's shoulders as they accepted the oversized check and gleaming trophy. "We actually did it." That triumphant moment, captured in a photo that would later hang prominently in their first real office, marked both an ending and a beginning. As April gave way to May, and May rushed headlong toward June, the reality of graduation loomed with all its exhilarating and terrifying implications. 3 weeks after their victory, the four gathered in their project room, now cluttered with half-packed boxes and end-of-semester detritus. Professor Torres had granted them permission to keep using the space until graduation, recognizing that their project had evolved far beyond coursework. "So," Jamie began, uncharacteristically hesitant as he slid a folder onto the table. "I got an offer." The statement landed heavily in the room. They'd been avoiding this conversation, focusing instead on finessing their prototype with the prize money from the Innovation Challenge. But reality couldn't be postponed forever. "Google?" Noah guessed, attempting nonchalance. "Horizon Media," Jamie corrected. "Their digital marketing division in New York. They saw our viral video and the competition coverage." "New York," Devin repeated, his expression carefully neutral. "That's significant." "It's a great opportunity," Jamie acknowledged, unable to meet Nate's eyes. "Creative freedom, competitive salary, big clients." Nate stared at the folder, feeling something cold settle in his stomach. He'd known this was coming. They all had careers to launch, dreams to pursue, but the prospect of Jamie across the country twisted something painful inside him. "I got something too," Noah announced, breaking the uncomfortable silence. "Design lead at Artisphere in Los Angeles. They do immersive digital installations." "Los Angeles has a vibrant creative economy," Devin commented automatically, the kind of factual statement he retreated to when emotions became complicated. "What about you too?" Jamie asked, finally looking up. "Offers from 3 financial technology startups," Devin replied. "All San Francisco-based. And one from my father's bank in Boston, which I'm." He adjusted his tie, considering out of familial obligation. All eyes turned to Nate, who had been uncharacteristically quiet. "ShonenAi," he said softly. "Their research division. And an AI security firm in Seattle." "Both incredible opportunities," Jamie said warmly, though his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "Boston, New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco," Noah tallied, spreading his hands. "Basically, we're looking at being scattered across every major tech hub in the country." The reality settled over them like a weight. After months of intense closeness, living together, working together, falling in love, they faced the prospect of abrupt separation. "It's the logical progression," Devin stated, though his usually confident voice carried a trace of uncertainty. "Career establishment often necessitates geographical flexibility." "Very logical," Noah agreed with the brittle sarcasm he deployed when genuinely upset. "Completely rational to throw away everything we've built for entry-level corporate positions." "We haven't built a business yet," Devin countered. "We've built a prototype. There's a significant difference in terms of viability and risk assessment." "So Nexus was just a class project after all?" Noah challenged. "Despite the competition win, despite Torres saying it has real potential?" "I didn't say that," Devin's composure slipped slightly. "I'm merely acknowledging the reality that startups have a statistically high failure rate, and we all have student loans to consider." The conversation deteriorated from there, tensions that had been simmering beneath the excitement of their victory now boiling to the surface. By unspoken agreement, they tabled the discussion, focusing instead on immediate concerns: final project documentation, graduation preparations, and the logistics of vacating their temporary shared apartment. The following week brought the first of their interview experiences, with results that ranged from promising to disastrous. Devin returned from his Boston interview looking uncharacteristically disheveled, his normally impeccable tie askew. "What happened to you?" Noah asked, genuinely concerned. "You look like you got mugged by a spreadsheet." "My father happened," Devin sighed, collapsing onto the couch. He attended the interview. He what? Jamie looked up from his laptop, appalled. Apparently, as a senior partner, he has every right to assess potential talent. Devin mimicked his father's authoritative tone. He proceeded to inform the hiring committee of my every academic and personal shortcoming since preparatory school. That's beyond inappropriate, Nate said, frowning. It was educational, Devin replied with surprising equanimity. I learned precisely what working under my father's shadow would entail. He straightened his tie with newfound resolution. I declined their offer on the spot. Noah couldn't hide his pleased smile. William shows a backbone. I'm impressed. Yes, well, Devin cleared his throat, clearly fighting a smile of his own. Even I have my limits regarding parental manipulation. Jamie's New York interview seemed more promising until a case of mistaken identity derailed the proceedings. They thought I was Jamie Rodriguez, the Olympic swimmer, he explained, returning to the apartment with a bewildered expression. I didn't realize until the CMO asked me to sign his son's swimming cap. Did you correct them? Nate asked. I tried. But then the CEO started talking about how my athletic discipline would translate to marketing persistence, and it got increasingly awkward to mention I've never won an Olympic medal. So what happened? Noah pressed, clearly entertained. I finally confessed during lunch when they asked about my training regimen. Jamie ran a hand through his hair. They were surprisingly cool about it, but suggested I might want to lead with the Stanford Tech project rather than the swimming accomplishments in future interviews. Solid advice, Noah snickered. Noah's Los Angeles interview initially went well until a misguided attempt to demonstrate his creative spontaneity. I may have redesigned their logo during the interview, he admitted upon his return. You did what? Devin looked genuinely alarmed. They asked about my design process. I thought showing was better than telling. Noah shrugged. Apparently their CEO is deeply attached to the current logo since his child designed it. Is that the company whose offer letter arrived this morning? Nate asked. Surprisingly, yes, Noah grinned. They said my audacity was either offensive or brilliant, and they were willing to find out which. Nate's interviews were less dramatic but no less unsettling. The Seattle security firm had been impressed by his technical abilities but skeptical of his communication skills. Too quiet for client-facing roles, the feedback email had stated bluntly. ShonenAi had been more promising, the research team excited by his approach to adaptive algorithms. They'd scheduled a second interview, this time with the full leadership team, for the week before graduation. It's my dream job, Nate admitted quietly to Jamie late one night, curled together in bed. The kind of pure research I've always wanted to do. Then you should take it, Jamie said, though his voice carried a note of resignation. But it's in Mountain View. You'd be in New York. We could make it work, Jamie offered, not quite convincingly. Lots of people do long distance. Do they? Nate asked. Successfully? Jamie's silence was answer enough. The night before Nate's final Turing interview, he found Noah on the apartment balcony, sketching furiously under the porch light. Can't sleep? Noah asked without looking up. Too much thinking, Nate admitted, settling into the adjacent chair. About tomorrow? Or about what happens after graduation? Both. Everything. Nate stared at the campus lights twinkling below. Did you ever imagine we'd end up here when we met at the hackathon? In existential crisis on a balcony? Noah smirked. Not specifically, no. You know what I mean. Noah's expression softened. I know. And no, I didn't expect any of this. The project, the four of us, Devin? He trailed off. Are you going to take the Turing job? I don't know, Nate admitted. It's everything I thought I wanted. But everything I want has changed. Before it was just about the work. Now it's about who I'm working with. Noah nodded, understanding perfectly. We could try to keep Nexus going. The four of us. As what? A side project while we work full-time in different cities. As our full-time job, Noah said simply. We won the Innovation Challenge. We have seed funding. Torres has connections to angel investors. That's incredibly risky, Nate pointed out, sounding distressingly like Devin. So is throwing away the best team either of us has ever been part of, Noah countered. So is pretending we can maintain these relationships across time zones and corporate loyalties. Nate had no argument for that. They sat in companionable silence, each contemplating futures that seemed to branch in too many directions. Graduation day arrived in a flurry of black robes, mortarboards, and parental expectations. Nate's sister Tina had flown in from her medical residency in Chicago. Jamie's extended family created a boisterous cheering section. Noah's artist parents appeared in colorful avant-garde attire, and Devon's father observed proceedings with dignified restraint. "Did you take the touring job?" Jamie whispered as they lined up for the processional. "Interview went well," Nate nodded. "They offered on the spot." "Congratulations," Jamie said, meaning it despite the hollowness in his chest. "That's amazing. I told them I needed to think about it." Before Jamie could respond, the ceremony began, sweeping them into the pageantry of commencement. Speeches blurred together, names were called, tassels were turned, and suddenly they were graduates, adults expected to make rational decisions about the rest of their lives. The afterparty was Alex Reeves' final campus event, a legendary gathering that transformed his entire apartment building's rooftop into a graduation celebration. Music thumped, drinks flowed, and the four friends found themselves in a quiet corner, slightly drunk and increasingly sentimental. To Professor Torres, Noah proposed, raising his red solo cup. The impossible professor who made everything possible. To Torres, they echoed, clinking plastic against plastic. To Kyle Stevens, Jamie added with a mischievous grin, "Whose constant sabotage only made us stronger." "I will not toast that man," Devon declared, though he begrudgingly touched his cup to the others when Noah nudged him. To Nexus, Nate said quietly, "Whatever happens next." A weighted silence fell over them. The alcohol had stripped away pretenses, leaving only the raw uncertainty they'd been avoiding. "I can't do it," Noah announced suddenly. "I can't take the LA job." "What?" Devon blinked in surprise. "I can't pretend I want to design meaningless experiences for corporate clients when we've built something that actually matters." Noah's eyes were bright with intensity or alcohol or both. "I can't walk away from this. From us." "Noah," Devon started, his practical nature asserting itself, the statistical probability of startup success. "I don't care about statistics," Noah interrupted. "For once in your life, Williams, think beyond the numbers. Are you really going to be happy at some financial startup without us? Without me?" Devon's carefully maintained composure faltered. "That's not a fair question." "It's the only question that matters," Noah insisted. Jamie watched the exchange with growing recognition. The same thoughts had been circling in his mind for days. The wrongness of separating, the emptiness of success without the people who mattered most. "I'm staying," he declared abruptly. Three heads turned toward him in surprise. "What about New York?" Nate asked, heart suddenly racing. "New York has plenty of marketing executives," Jamie shrugged. "But it doesn't have you. Any of you." His gaze lingered on Nate. "Some opportunities only come once. I think Nexus, this team, is one of them." "You're both being impulsive," Devon protested, though his voice lacked conviction. "We haven't even developed a business plan." "So develop one," Noah challenged. "That's literally your superpower, Williams. Structured planning in the face of chaos." Devon looked between them, his internal struggle visible. "My father would consider this professional suicide." "All the more reason to do it," Noah grinned wickedly. To everyone's surprise, Devon laughed, a genuine, uninhibited sound rarely heard from him. "You're a terrible influence." "I prefer to think of it as creative disruption," Noah corrected, leaning closer. All eyes turned to Nate, the final piece in their quartet. "Touring is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity," he said slowly. "The kind of research position most CS graduates would kill for." Jamie nodded, refusing to pressure him despite the hope rising in his chest. "But," Nate continued, a smile growing, "I already have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Right here." The relief was palpable, for separate futures collapsing into a shared path forward. "We'd need seed capital beyond the competition prize," Devon said, already shifting to planning mode despite his flushed complexion. "And a proper workspace, not just our project room." "And we'd need to actually incorporate," Jamie added, excitement building. "Business licenses, tax IDs, the whole thing." "And a better name than Nexus," Noah suggested. "Something with our personal stamp." "I like Nexus," Nate defended. "It's what brought us together." Their debate was interrupted by a familiar voice. "Well, if it isn't the hackathon heroes plotting world domination." They turned to find Professor Torres observing them with amusement, champagne flute in hand. "Professor," Devon scrambled to stand straighter. "We were just discussing." "I heard," she waved off his explanation. Hard not to, given Mr. Kim's enthusiasm for creative disruption. Noah had the grace to look slightly embarrassed. I came to congratulate you on your graduation, she continued, but it seems congratulations on your new venture might be more appropriate. It's just an idea, Jamie said cautiously. We haven't committed to anything. Torres raised an eyebrow. Haven't you? Because that sounded remarkably like a drunken pact to turn down prestigious job offers and launch a startup together. Put that way, it did sound slightly ridiculous. The four exchanged uncertain glances. Relax, Torres laughed at their expressions. I'm not here to talk you out of it. Quite the opposite. She handed Jamie a business card. Richard Barnes, the venture capitalist who judged your presentation. He was impressed. Said to call when you're ready to discuss seed funding. Four jaws dropped simultaneously. You've built something exceptional, Torres continued more seriously. Not just the platform, though that has considerable potential, but the team. That kind of collaborative chemistry is rare. Richard recognizes it. So do I. With that extraordinary endorsement, she left them staring at the business card as if it might vanish. Did that just happen? Noah asked faintly. I believe we just received conditional pre-seed validation from a major venture capitalist, Devin confirmed, looking slightly dazed. Through our professor, Jamie added incredulously. Who apparently believed in us all along, Nate concluded, a slow smile spreading across his face. They looked at each other, the magnitude of the moment sinking in. Their drunken pact had suddenly gained legitimacy, transforming from graduation sentimentality into genuine possibility. So, Jamie said finally, raising his cup once more. Are we really doing this? Risking financial security for a statistically improbable venture? Devin mused, then glanced at Noah with uncharacteristic warmth. Apparently I am. Creating something that's actually ours instead of building someone else's dream? Noah grinned. Absolutely. Nate looked at Jamie, finding everything he needed in that familiar smile. I'm in. All in. They sealed their agreement with clinking cups and intertwined futures, for graduates at the Crossroads choosing to build their own path forward, together. As the party continued around them, they began sketching their nascent company on cocktail napkins. Nexus Technologies, founded by four improbable partners who had found their strongest connection in each other. It was mid-June, giving them the entire summer to turn their drunken pact into reality.